What if I told you the First World War, a conflict that claimed over 20 million lives and reshaped the modern world, started because of a sandwich? Yes, really. A sandwich. A misstep. And a 19-year-old boy with a pistol. We're taught in school that World War I began with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. Behind the gunshot that echoed through Sarajevo lies a tangled web of secret alliances, imperial rivalries, backdoor politics, and a world that had been sleepwalking toward destruction for years. In today's episode, we're unraveling the hidden causes and bizarre coincidences that sparked the Great War. And by the end, you might just ask yourself, was this war truly inevitable, or was it all a cosmic accident? Let's dive in. To understand how it all began, we need to rewind to Europe at the start of the 20th century. Imagine a continent ruled not by democracies, but by mighty empires. The British, Austro-Hungarian, Russian, Ottoman, and German. These weren't just countries. They were massive, multi-ethnic superstates. And they were all in competition for colonies, for military dominance, and for prestige. But beneath the royal courts and military parades was an unstable foundation. Ethnic tension simmered, especially in the Balkans, where Slavic nationalism was on the rise. Serbia, a small but proud nation, dreamed of uniting all Slavs under its flag, directly threatening Austria-Hungary's control of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Meanwhile, secret treaties and military alliances tied countries together like dominoes. If one fell, the others were bound to follow. It was a powder keg and it only needed a spark. Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was not your typical royal. He was outspoken, reform-minded, and deeply unpopular among the elites. He wanted to grant greater autonomy to the Slavic peoples within the empire. A plan that ironically could have diffused nationalist tensions. But not everyone trusted him. Especially not radical Serb nationalists, who saw any influence of Austria as imperial oppression. On June 28, 1914, Franz and his wife Sophie traveled to Sarajevo for a military parade. It was a symbolic visit, one that stirred deep resentment. Why? Because June 28 was Vidovdan, a sacred Serbian holiday. The timing was seen as an insult. And that's when the Black Hand, a Serbian secret society, made its move. 7 young men were stationed along the Archduke's motorcade route. All were armed with pistols, grenades, and cyanide capsules in case of capture. Among them was Gavrilo Princip, a frail 19-year-old with tuberculosis and a burning hatred for Austria. The first assassin panicked. The second threw a grenade, but it bounced off the Archduke's car and exploded under the following vehicle, injuring several officers. Franz insisted on continuing his visit. His calmness under fire may have saved lives, or doomed millions. By midday, the parade was over. But Franz wanted to visit the hospital to see the wounded. His driver, unaware the route had changed, took a wrong turn onto Franz Joseph Street. And fate intervened. Standing nearby was Gavrilo Princip. He'd gone to a cafe, defeated and hungry. According to some accounts, he had just bought a sandwich. Suddenly, the Archduke's car stopped right in front of him. Princip stepped forward and fired 2 shots. Franz was hit in the neck. Sophie in the abdomen. Both died within minutes. The world would never be the same. Austria-Hungary was outraged. But here's where it gets interesting, they didn't immediately go to war. Instead, they turned to Germany. Germany gave Austria a blank check, a promise of unconditional support. Austria then issued a deliberately harsh ultimatum to Serbia, expecting it to be rejected. Serbia, backed by Russia, agreed to most demands but rejected one, allowing Austrian investigators into Serbian territory. On July 28, Austria declared war on Serbia. Russia began mobilizing to protect its Slavic ally. Germany, fearing encirclement, declared war on Russia. France, allied with Russia, joined in. Germany then invaded Belgium to get to France, a violation of neutrality that drew Britain into the conflict. Within just weeks, nearly every major European power was at war. Here's a little-known fact, Germany had been planning this war for nearly a decade. The Schlieffen Plan, developed in 1905, was designed to avoid fighting a war on 2 fronts. It involved sweeping through Belgium to quickly knock out France before turning east to face Russia. But the plan relied on precise timing. Any delay would be catastrophic. And that's exactly what happened. Belgium resisted harder than expected. Britain entered the war. Russia mobilized faster than Germany anticipated. The carefully laid plan unraveled and the war dragged on for years. World War I wasn't just a diplomatic disaster, it was a technological nightmare. This was the first industrial war. Machine guns, poison gas, tanks, submarines, and airplanes turned battlefields into slaughterhouses. The infamous Battle of the Somme saw over 1 million casualties for just a few miles of ground. In Verdun, French and German troops fought for 300 days straight. And let's not forget the Eastern Front, where entire villages were wiped out by fighting and famine. But perhaps most chilling of all were the trenches, vast networks where soldiers lived, fought, and died in mud, rats, and misery. While most people focus on France and Belgium, World War I was truly global. In Africa, colonial troops were conscripted into battle by European powers. In the Middle East, the Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers, and Arab rebels backed by Britain rose up in a revolt that would reshape the region. In Asia, Japan joined the Allies and seized German colonies in China and the Pacific. Even the United States, initially neutral, would eventually join the war in 1917 after Germany resumed unrestricted submarine warfare and tried to lure Mexico into an alliance via the infamous Zimmermann telegram. By November 1918, the Central Powers were exhausted. Revolutions toppled the German, Austro-Hungarian, Russian, and Ottoman empires. The Allies declared victory. But the Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, imposed crushing penalties on Germany, loss of territory, massive reparations, and full blame for the war. Rather than securing peace, it planted seeds of resentment. A young German soldier who survived the trenches, Adolf Hitler, would later rise to power on a promise to undo the humiliation of Versailles. In other words, World War I didn't end the world's problems. It set the stage for World War II. So, was it really just about an assassination? Or was it decades of pride, paranoia, and political chess that led the world into the abyss? Tell us in the comments, do you think the war was inevitable, or could one small decision have stopped it all? If this story blew your mind, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating dives into hidden history, and share this video with someone who thinks they know how World War I started, because sometime, the truth is stranger than fiction. See you in the next one.